Right in.
Adam Taxin with Rabbi Nochum Kurinsky of Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida, of Chabad The Beaches in Ponte Vedra Beach. I'm sort of focused on pronouncing it right. I get my text wrong, my script wrong. There is no script, as you can probably tell. And he can be reached at chabadbeaches.com. And yeah, so I'm going to catch you off guard here. You have no idea what I'm going to ask you.
Stump the rabbi.
Well, not really stump the rabbi, but it's a question for your interpretation here. A lot of people are saying the world seems to be getting crazier and crazier, and I'm not just talking about Obama, I'm just not talking about current events, I'm not even talking about the weather, which has been extremely crazy lately.
Right.
But it's not making sense. There are so many things that don't make sense, whether it's all the sexting going on among middle school students, or whether it's couples being allowed to adopt who may be different genders, but are just friends. I just saw that news story. It's getting crazier and crazier. What's your response to that? People want answers.
Well, I think that we're living. First of all, a lot of it depends on what you're looking at for information. So, if you look at the world, you look at some of the craziness in the world. We also see some amazing things happening in the world.
Of course.
We also see the advancement of information, the amount of information that's available, the amount of Torah study, or the amount of knowledge that someone has at their fingertips is absolutely incredible. And so we're living in times when we're really living in times as we get closer. The world gets closer and closer to its ultimate mission, which is the time of Mashiach, Messianic times, where the world will be a world of peace, a world of goodness, and God will be revealed in the world. So the world is naturally gravitating that direction. So you have spirituality is readily available. Godliness is readily available. The world is itself becoming, but itself is merging towards a state where people want clear answers. And at the same time, you have a certain revolution going on of ideas where people don't necessarily trust what they've been told. They're seeking it on their own. So there's some negative things that are happening, but there's a lot of positive, and it comes from a good place. Somebody once asked the Rabbi in the 1960s, when you had the whole cultural revolution in the 60s, he said, "Well, what do you say? What do you have to say about all these wild hippies? All these?" And the Rebbe said, "You see hippies, you see wild kids, and I see young people that are seeking out their own unique path to God. That are seeking their own genuine, their own genuineness, and they kind of peeled away the layers. They're looking for something real. So the world, you see people getting, looking for their own ideas and looking for their own identity, and that's a good thing."
Well, it's almost a cliche by now to say the internet can be used for bad, but obviously good. We've made videos, lots of people make videos on very positive things. Hopefully ours are positive. But is there something in the Talmud that says the world will become increasingly insane? I have heard that, but I don't really know the details. It will become increasingly insane right before the Messianic times?
Yeah, as part of it, the world literally talks about the world, Dar HaFuches, being an upside-down world, a topsy-turvy world. But there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and part of it we've already experienced. Look, we've had the hell of the Holocaust. We've had some difficult times.
Yeah, it's been crazy for Jews for a long time.
So now we're starting to see the other way. For example, you and I, Orthodox Jews, live in Ponte Vedra Beach. I live in a city where there used to be a sign that said "No Jews, blacks, and dogs allowed," and then they got very liberal. They started letting dogs in. So and now look at me. I look as Jewish as it gets. I walk down the street, and I'm protected by the United States. The sheriff's office here in St. Johns County helped us with our Hanukkah event this year. Across the street, it's an amazing time. There's never been a time historically when Jews have been allowed to practice like this. So it's what's happening is there's a tremendous change in the air, and it's becoming much more acceptable to be a practicing Jew, and we're free to practice, and we're protected by the authorities, which were traditionally, historically opposed to Judaism, and now they're protecting our rights. It's an unbelievable time, and we have to seize that opportunity. Use the internet as an example. The internet is a vehicle. The internet is a vehicle like when the radio was invented, and they decided to put the Rebbe authorized it. They had Rabbi Weinberg, bless his memory, started a radio show. They called it Tanya in the Air. Tanya, and he did it based on, but people were very upset. They said, "How could you have the radio was such a non-Jewish source?" He said, "Quite the contrary. The radio broadcasts waves throughout the air, and when you turn on a radio, you're not causing the radio wave to come directly to your radio. It's actually in the air. You're just picking up the radio waves that are right there. Internet's very much the same. When you're broadcasting Torah over the internet, it's broadcast everywhere in the world, and you choose to log in. You're simply seeing information that's readily available. So we have, the internet's a vehicle, the world's a vehicle. It's our choice. All these different methods, iPhones, smartphones, technology, and all various different gadgets and opportunities that we have are subject to the way we choose to use them, and we should choose to use them for good.
Let me just steer this back. Okay, in terms of specific information, I'm just thinking about people who spend a lot of time on the internet. Maybe they're lonely in real life, but they're just increasingly insecure, and they have this constant anxiety about the way they perceive, and it may be based on reality, about the way they perceive the world is going. They're stressed out, and I'd like you to address the non-Jewish person who's feeling that way and the Jewish person who's feeling that way.
Well, I think that it's true for Jews and non-Jews. It's a choice. There's a choice. We make a choice every time we log on and every time we go to a website.
But even beyond the internet.
Well, anytime we choose what information we want to see and how we want to see it. It's our choice. We choose who we listen to, who we don't listen to. We could spend our time. Time is valuable. We could choose to treasure a moment, and if we have an extra few minutes, if you're on the internet and you go to YouTube, you can choose to look for a Torah thought about Parshat Bo, or you can choose to look up information about Obama's dog named Bo. It's up to you. It's your choice. It's a choice that you make.
I like Portuguese water dogs. I think you got to come up with a worse example than that on what people search for.
Look at it. I have a cute dog, but regardless,
they're both about dogs, though.
Right. That's our choice. It's really our choice of how we choose to see things, and there's also we're a generation on one hand where we feel leaderless. We feel like we don't have direction. The other hand, we're leaderless because we have a lot of direction, because we are empowered, because each one of us has that tremendous. God gives us what we need. So if we don't have someone directing us and telling us what to do, it's because we have the power to direct ourselves. So we have to really. We really need to develop a little bit more of a healthy self-esteem and outlook about our place in life, and really understand that we can contribute immensely, spiritually and materially to other people and to the world around us. And it's not the Talmud says an interesting thing. It says it's an obligation, not a nice thing, not a thought, it wouldn't be a good idea. It says Chayav Adam, a person's obligated to say, the world was created for me. It's an obligation. We must look at the world as if we are the center of the world. We have an important job, and if we really looked at the world, we said, and that's not a statement of ego, that's a statement of fact. God put me in this world. I have a purpose. There's people around me that I influence myself. Every moment has value. Life has intrinsic value, and I need to make the best of it. And if we would live that way, we wouldn't be lonely.
Tony Montana said it in Scarface, "The world is mine." That was what motivated him, but we don't necessarily use him as a role model. So essentially, to boil it down, what you're saying, yes, there's a lot to be anxious about, but you're making a certain amount of choice, whether you want to go that route or if you want to live your life in the way you want to see it.
Absolutely, it's a conscious decision, and it'll be a conscious decision if we make a conscious decision to act in a godly way and to live every moment with purpose. There's doing mitzvot, following the commandments in the Torah. That's clearly a godly thing. But there's even small things like eating a meal instead of just taking the food and just inhaling the food and eating it. Enjoy a nice steak, but you know what? Stop for a second and be conscious of the food. Say to yourself, of course, if you're Jewish, make a blessing before and after, make sure the food's kosher. But in addition to that, there's just simply looking at the food and saying, look, if I eat this meal, it will give me strength. I'll be a better person. I'll have energy, and I'll be able to serve God. And that meal, instead of just having a nice steak dinner, turned into a godly experience. There's an issue. There's the concept of living every moment for God. So instead of just wasting time and watching TV for an hour, so make a conscious decision. I'm going to take an hour for myself and relax, so that I'm a better person, so that I can deal with people around me. And then that hour that you spent recreating, that hour is actually a godly experience as opposed to just a mundane, self-centered experience.
All right. Well, hopefully someone somewhere will feel better, or at least less anxious as a result of seeing this. Thank you.